What's going on, everybody? Thank you for clicking on this video. Welcome back to Citizen Cycle, where I review electric bicycles and also sometimes electric scooters. And that's what I've got for you today. This is a new offering from Turboant. This is the 2021 Turboant M10. Now, I've reviewed one of their scooters in the past. It was the Turboant X7Pro. I'll link that in the description below if you're curious on that one. But today we're going to look at the M10. This is their more, I guess, entry-level scooter offering, but still has some great specs. So it's got 10-inch air-filled tires, 7.5 amp-hour battery, and it's got a 20-mile-an-hour top speed. Right now, it goes for $469 on their website, and you can save yourself an extra 30 bucks if you use my code CITIZEN30 at checkout, so it'd be $439 after that. So we're going to take an up-close look at all the components you get on this scooter so you know what you get for your money. Hopefully, I can give you some information to help you to decide if this is the one for you. First disclosure, though, is that I am not a professional in any capacity. I'm just an electric vehicle enthusiast. That's the perspective I'm coming from, hoping to tell you what it's like for your average consumer to ride the scooter. And the second disclosure is that this is here courtesy of Turboant. They sent me the scooter for the purpose of putting some information out and doing a review video, so that's what we're doing today. So now let me show you the M10 up close. All right, well, there is your M10 electric scooter from Turboant. And first off, let me just tell you how it arrives. So comes in a cardboard box, folded down and packed in foam. And there's next to no setup really to get up and running on the scooter. You just fold up the handlebars and twist on the grips and you're pretty much done. And make sure the battery's charged, I guess, and then you're ready to ride. So very easy setup. Takes you all but 5 minutes to get this thing up and ready to go. So this is a scooter that's designed for commuting, or what I'll call city adventuring, city exploring. You know, it's not an off-road scooter at all. There's no full suspension or anything like that. It's gonna function best on the paved surfaces. The only suspension you really have is in the tires. So you've got 10-inch tires, air-filled tires. The tire size is 10 by 2.125, and you inflate them up to 35 psi. So they are very firm, but they do an adequate job of soaking up the cracks in the sidewalk and the small stones you hit and just little bumps like that. It was actually a pretty smooth ride. I don't feel like this needs any additional suspension. The air-filled tires work just fine. Now, you do have some reflective decals on the front here and on the back. Those are not marker lights or anything like that. They're just reflective surfaces. The front stem does fold down. This is your folding mechanism here. You just twist this plastic piece out of the way and then squeeze this right here, and the whole handlebar flops down and latches right into this piece right on the back fender there, so you can pick it up and carry it easily. It doesn't weigh all that much. It's easy to transport, no issue grabbing a hold of this thing and throwing it in the back of the truck or back of your car. I think it only weighs like 30 pounds or something. I can put the weight on the screen. Much easier to handle than, you know, say an electric bike that weighs 75 pounds. If you're looking for some transportation you want to carry with you on vacation or something, this would be a good option. As we come up the front stem, you've got your headlight mounted right here. And again, everything is pretty much all set up with the exception of you got to spin these grips on when you get the scooter. That's it. That's all the setup there is to this. Everything else is already attached and mounted for you. This comes on with just a touch of the button up here on the controls. We'll get to that. And we've got rubber grips. And right here, for your controls, this is your throttle. It's like a trigger finger throttle, which I've not seen one of those before, but it was fine. I kind of like this one. It wasn't bad at all. Easy to use. Over here, this is your brake lever for your dual braking system, and I'll talk about that here in a second. But you've got dual braking system on this, and then here's your display screen, which I'll turn on, comes on immediately. There you go. So you've got your battery indicator. You've got your 3 different modes. So it's got I think beginner, eco, and sport, 1, 2, and 3. And honestly, I just kept it in sport mode almost the entire time. I think it goes beginner 6 miles an hour, eco is 9, and then the sport mode will take you up to 20 miles an hour. So once you get used to riding this scooter, I think you're probably just going to keep it in sport mode most of the time, because you can modulate this throttle and, you know, control your speed with that. You don't really need the mode to do that, but the modes are there if you want to try those. You also get your miles per hour, and then the indicator showing cruise control and also your headlight. So headlight to come on, you just hold this right here for a few seconds, and that turns on your front headlight. It also has a rear tail light, and it also has a rear brake light. So when I pull the brake here, you can see the light flash. So you've got functioning taillight and brake light on the scooter, which I think is absolutely fantastic. The M10 also comes with a bell accessory that can be installed on the left-hand grip. Just slide it on prior to twisting the grip into place. Now the brake lever here controls your rear disc brake. So here's your rear disc brake. And I mentioned that there's a dual braking system. So there's only one brake. There's no brake on the front wheel. So what is the second braking system? Well, you might be thinking it's right here. Sometimes you can stand on this back fender and it'll, come down into the wheel and be like a manual braking system. This does not have that. This is a fixed fender here. So that's not the second one. The second braking system is an internal like throttle control inside the motor. So it's an internal braking system in the rear motor. That is your second braking system. And it worked well. I had no issues stopping with the scooter. You can actually hear, once you pull the brake lever, you can hear that internal brake inside the motor kind of make a winding down noise. Like you can actually hear and tell that it is working and helping stop the scooter from the inside internals of the motor. I think electronic throttle control was the exact term that is used for that. So no issues with braking, plenty of stopping power. Very happy with that. Let's cruise back up to the screen here. So you can see that I'll show you the different modes. So if you double click this, it goes to mode 1, double click again to 2, double click to 3. I kept it in 3 almost the entire time. I'm comfortable enough riding this scooter that the 20-mile-an-hour top speed was quite enjoyable for me. And it gets up and moves pretty quick. I can throw up some videos of this scooter accelerating, and I think I did actually do a timed 0 to 20 for you, so you can get a kind of an idea how fast this gets up and moving. I weigh 175 pounds just for reference. All right, here we go. Acceleration 0 to 20. Got a nice long straight stretch. I'm going to try to angle this camera down. But here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. And right about 18, 9, 20 right there. Pretty quick. But it's got plenty of acceleration off the line. You have to kick the scooter manually to get it going about 2 miles an hour before the throttle becomes active. So I found the M10 to have plenty of acceleration off the line, plenty of juice to get me up to top speed. I was able to reach that 20-mile-an-hour top speed very easily. This is your power plant here, a 350 watt rear hub motor. And so how much power does that give you for hill climbs? That's the question, right? So it's a scooter. Keep that in mind. These aren't built to be hill climbing beasts. This will climb an incline. I think on the website they say up to 15-degree incline. And the way I tested that was I went to a parking deck or parking garage where I could get an accurate reading. I could take a measurement of the rise over the run and see what kind of incline I am climbing, which I calculated to be a 10% on the incline. So I do have a clip of me doing that so you can see how fast it went up that incline. All right. I mean, it's pulling me up nice and easy. We're at 11 miles an hour, 12. I mean, it gained about 12, 13 at the top there. It gained speed the entire climb. So that was pretty good. Well, as you can see, I was able to get this scooter to climb that 10% grade very easily. It was gaining momentum the whole way. If you're going to be tackling small inclines like that with this scooter, I think you'll be fine. Of course, it's going to get slower and slower the steeper that incline gets, or probably the more you weigh. I think the max weight capacity on the M10 is 220 pounds. Now, we have not covered battery yet. So unlike the X7 Pro that I reviewed, where the battery's in this stem here, this battery is actually in the platform you stand on. So there's their logo, but it's a 7.5 amp hour battery, 36 volt, that's hidden in here. And let me tip the scooter over actually. You can see the charging port right here behind the kickstand. You cannot remove this battery. This has to stay in the scooter at all times. So non-removable battery. And I kind of prefer it in this platform instead of on the stem here. The other scooters I've ridden that have the battery pack right here in the stem, they're very top heavy. This is much more balanced. All your weight is nice and down low right here. It's a much lighter feeling up here in the grips because there's no weight up top. It's easier to handle. I kind of like this setup better, honestly. All right, so what does that battery pack get you in terms of range? Well, range is always a very tricky question. There's a lot of factors that go into that. Turboant says on their website, I think it's a maximum of 18 miles of range. Now, I did a range test. There's no odometer here on the screen, but I pulled out my phone GPS to keep track of the mileage, did a range test, and I got 11 miles out of it. So why did I come up short? Why did I only get 11 when they claim you can get up to 18? Well, again, there's a lot of factors that factor in. I think I'm probably heavier than the test rider they use, right? I think they normally use like a 150-pound rider for range test stuff. I'm 175, so I'm adding extra weight. But I think the bigger factor was tire pressure. Because I went out and did the range test and I was like, okay, I came up short, why? And then it dawned on me that I'd never checked the air pressure in the tires. And I checked it and I was running them at 15 PSI. And they're supposed to be up over 30. So I had the tire pressure at half the required amount. So riding around with half the amount of air pressure I should have had in there, I'm sure had a major effect on my range. I'm betting if I increased that up to over 30 pounds, you know, PSI, that I'd probably get an extra couple miles out of the range on this. But that's what I got. Just one more piece of data to use. I mean, someone could get 20 miles out of it, somebody could only get 7. I mean, it's going to totally depend on a lot of different factors, but, you know, having the tires nice and squishy and soft and half the air pressure, I still managed to get 11 miles out of the scooter. I think a better way to think about it is, I took this out the other night and rode it around town, and I rode it around for like a good solid hour, just cruising around, riding it like I would normally ride it, not doing any special tests or anything. And I rode around for like a full hour, came back home, and I still had 2 battery bars left. But let's see if we can't just fold this down for you really quick. I'm gonna try to do it one-handed. It's a little hard to do these one-handed, but you gotta spin this plastic piece out of the way, and then you just squeeze right here. This gets squeezed in, and then the handlebars just flop down like that. And then back here, this piece, let me get a better angle, it slides in there like that. Just locks it in place. And this side maybe better, it just slides right in there. And then you can grab it and lift it up right here. And it's pretty balanced, being that your battery is right in here. All right, so what does the average consumer need to know about the M10? What are my likes, dislikes, things I noticed? Let's start with the likes. So I guess first thing is that it's a pretty smooth ride. I dig in the air-filled tires. They really do a good job of taking out the bumps and the cracks in the sidewalk and everything. So it's a pretty smooth ride. I like that about it. The range I thought was very usable. So, I mean, it doesn't have an insane range. If you're trying to use this for an extremely long commute, maybe it's not the best one. But as far as just riding this around town like I normally would and having fun on it, it seemed like a adequate range for that. I mean, I went out and rode for an hour and came back, still had half the battery. So the range is perfectly fine with me. I got plenty out of it. The other thing I like is the distribution of the weight. I like having the battery down in the platform you stand on. It makes it feel more stable, more balanced with the weight all down nice and low like that. I like that better than having the battery in the stem. That made it really top heavy and front heavy. So I do like the battery in the platform better. And the last thing I like about it is that it's just an easy piece of transportation or a piece of fun that you can take with you about anywhere you go. You know, it's easy to load it in your car and you take it with you if you want to go to the park, or if you're going to go camping or on vacation or wherever, you can have it with you. My wife and I, we took it with us to the park today. She was riding it around trying to get used to it. I wanted to take a few clips of her on there as well, so you can get a feel for a 5'3" rider on this scooter. So let's take a look at those. Probably. Yeah, what did you think? After, what, 5 minutes of riding?
It's fun.
What was the hardest part?
Probably turning.
Turning?
Turning is the hardest part.
For a non-scooter rider, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard is this?
It is not that hard, actually. You just need to get used to it. And that's it.
So like a 5?
I'll give it a 6.
6 on the difficulty level?
Yeah.
Because you're not used to it at all?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you get it to top speed?
I got it to 10.
To 10? It goes 20.
I know.
You didn't even get to top speed.
I was too scared.
Oh. Well, you can see that she's got some work to do to get used to driving the scooter. It is a bit of a learning curve if you've never been on them, to get yourself acclimated to how to lean into the turns and lean back when you're stopping and everything like that. But once you get the hang of it, it's very easy to ride. All right, so now dislikes. Is there anything I disliked about the M10? Well, me personally, I am not a cruise control person. I want to be in control of the throttle myself at all times. So I don't like it when the cruise controls automatically turn on after, so many seconds of holding a certain speed. This does that. If you hold the throttle a certain speed or you coast at a certain speed for whatever 6 seconds, it automatically turns on. I wish I could turn that feature off. The other thing I'll mention is the brake lever. Now, this was more of a problem for me than it was for others. I'm a taller rider, I guess. I'm 6 feet tall. And when I stand on this scooter, my hands are reaching down for the handlebars, right? So I want the brake lever to be angled down here where I can grab it, and it's not. It's up very high, so I have to rotate my hand back to grab the brake lever like that. So that was challenging at first, and I was able to overcome this with basically when I rode this thing around, I would just ride like this, just one finger up on the brake lever, which I was able to get enough braking power with my man hands that I could pull the brake adequately and still have a good grip down here on the grip with my other 3 fingers and thumb. All right, and the last challenge I'll point out would be the display screen. So it's kind of flat, it's not angled back towards you, and you can see, so we're in the shade right now, you can see all of the, I guess, indicator light things, right? And then let me turn it on. So now you can see which ones are lit. But in the full sunlight, I'll try to throw up a picture. It's kind of hard to tell in full sun which ones are lit and which ones aren't if you just glance down at it really quick. So I found that a little bit challenging. It was okay, I wish this was a little bit clearer. Well, that is the M10 from Turboant, and thank you to Turboant for giving me a chance to test ride the scooter, put some information out there, much appreciated. I will of course link the scooter in the description below and also their website so you can get there easily. If you have questions on the scooter, specific questions I didn't cover and forgot, put them in the comments. I will do my best to answer them if I know the answer. And remember, if you decide this is the one for you, use code CITIZEN30 at checkout, save yourself an extra 30 bucks. So I think that's all for today. Subscribe for more reviews and comparison videos like this one. Ring the bell so you're notified when they come out. And I think that is all. Thank you so much for watching.